Fires deep down the right side. And he makes the catch.
NCAA Football is often considered the little brother of the Madden series, and this has traditionally been a fair assessment. While the college game is much different than the NFL, features you find in the Madden games often take an extra season to make it into the NCAA product. This time it's different, as NCAA Football 09 introduces its own set of innovations. But many core issues still remain from prior games, and bugs are even more rampant.
Back to pass. He chucks it downfield. Complete. He's got room.
When you create the same sports game year after year, it becomes easy to build an impressive list of options. The NCAA football franchise has definitely reached this point. Just about any conceivable way you can play college football is on the roster, including the ability to strap on the pads as a team mascot. Where modes are concerned, the only new addition this year is online dynasties. Your dynasty can interact with those of 11 other human players and stretch on for a whopping 60 seasons. That's a whole lot of numbers to keep track of, and the Dynasty mode hasn't been truncated either. You also get the ability to download and upload rosters online, and some kind soul has already created the players for every team in college football, effectively eliminating the absence of real player names and rankings. The Dynasty mode itself hasn't changed too much. Recruiting has been a grind in past games, and despite some options created to make it easier, it's still far too time-consuming. It's made worse by the crawling speed at which you can scroll and view players. With this much horsepower in the machines, there's really no excuse for the lag. Even if you do use the quick recruiting tools, scoping out players and getting them to sign is way too much work, and after a season or two, you'll want to take what you can get and deal with it. You also get the Campus Legend option that allows you to create a high school player at any position, play through his state finals, and then select his institution of higher learning. The Campus Legend option only allows you to play from one position. The simulation options are a huge help, as you can watch or play as much or as little as you want. Other additions include a couple new mini-games like Horse, where you take field goal attempts from anywhere on the field, and Special Teams Challenge, where you take turns kicking and returning kicks, trying to get into field goal range. Just like past games in the series, NCAA Football 09 is loaded with ways to play. But not all of them are a good time. The addition of online dynasties has been requested for years, and finally, EA Sports has done it.
Single set backfield.
Here's where the problems crop up. There's a new breakaway engine that allows you to shed tacklers that's a little overpowered. If you get past the defensive line into the linebackers, it's far too easy to break one for a long gain. Other additions include a reworked home field advantage system that's a little more successful. When playing on the road, the controller will shake and your receiver's routes will become scrambled. The best part is that there are ways to quell the stadium's thunder. After throwing an interception, you can attempt to guess the defensive scheme to keep the other team's momentum from getting out of hand. Another addition is icing the kicker. If your opponent is attempting a field goal in the second or fourth quarters, you can call a timeout and cool him off. Ice will obscure the kicking meter, the camera angle changes, and his controller will shake. It's effective. Too effective, in fact.
And he misses the extra point.
Interactive timeouts are also new, allowing you to coach your team on the sideline by selecting enhancements to particular positions. It can certainly make a difference, but the defense has the option to thwart any enhancements your team might have by selecting the correct defensive adjustments. All the new additions are nice, but they come at the expense of the core gameplay. While you have just about any option to change the play at the line of scrimmage, it often causes problems. Flipping pass plays will cause your receivers to run across the line of scrimmage as they realign. And when using the new formation-based audibles, it'll cause some receivers to become completely dead when they run their routes, or running backs to crash into the back of the quarterback after the snap. Once the ball is snapped, controls on both sides of the ball work well. On offense, you can use the highlight stick or the traditional face buttons to juke, hurdle, and dive. On defense, you can strafe to string out a play to the sideline, jump the snap, or otherwise do everything a real defender can.
Oh man, did he take a hit!
No matter which side of the ball you're on, if you make plays yourself, it will affect that player's attributes and those around him. Once you cross the goal line, you have a couple of options, including celebrating with teammates by pulling off a team's signature taunt, or running into the mascot where they'll celebrate together. NCAA football isn't broken, but in a sport where each play matters, one of these small hiccups can cost you a game.
Throws. Finds the junior. Down the sideline. Option left side. The pitch, and and he's got some room.
NCAA Football 09 looks basically identical to NCAA Football 08. There are some new animations, and players react to tipped balls a lot more accurately, but otherwise, it's a replay of last year's game. The crowds still don't make much sense, as terrible teams will sell out the stadium week after week. There's still no referees on the field, but at least cheerleaders have managed to up the college atmosphere a bit. How the game decides whether there will be an announcer for the game in Dynasty or Campus Legend modes doesn't make much sense. They're normally reserved for televised games, but the TV schedule doesn't adjust throughout the season, so don't be surprised when 2 top 10 teams play and there's no announcer. One cool addition is the ability to create custom stadium sounds, allowing you to set audio cues to trigger when certain conditions are met on the field. Creative types can really get into this feature and customize the game, but it's a lot of work.
He's all the way home. Touchdown. There he goes. And they bring him down.
In the quest for improvements, the team behind NCAA Football 09 has overlooked some bugs and other issues. Even with these issues, it's still predominantly a solid playing game of college football, with enough modes and options to keep players busy well into next season. It's disappointing that some of the sticking points from last year's game haven't been addressed. Yet, if for only the option to download updated rosters and take their dynasty online, we recommend upgrading to this year's game for the hardcore college pigskin fan. Everyone else will be more than happy to replay last season.
At the 40. He may take it to the 20. And he will score. That was a big-time return.
Woo! Did you see some of the blocks on that play?